understand you, John.
Exactly. Really hard.
You get the same thing too, Vern?
Yeah. Really hard
John,
to understand them.
John, why don't you log off and try and jump back on and try that?
Is Jan?
John, you're no better.
John, are you talking? Oh, it's terrible. Well,
It's
John's
Stacy
trying to
tonight.
sort out his audio issues. Who else we got on here?
I'm on here. Hi, Stacy.
Oh,
Hi,
hi,
Vern and
Mike.
Melissa. Hi.
Hey,
We
how
got
we doing?
We got Mike Gerlach. and the folks from the Mazomania Rumble by the River, Paul.
River Rumble. Paul.
River Rumble.
River Rumble. Okay, gotcha.
Because Rumble by the River, I guess, was like down by down southeastern part of the county or
Big
state, I should
Bender,
say.
Union Grove.
Oh, that's,
Yeah. Somebody was talking about the difference, the same words, but just different way to put it on.
yeah, that's by Big Bend. And then you go out to Mount City, Missouri, and they got Rumble by the Refuge or something out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a deal.
Yeah. Well, I guess since John's trying to get his audio stuff squared away, I guess I'll be the de facto host here for a little while. I guess since we got you guys on the Mine Holsters, you probably want to talk about how things went up at Mazomania, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we had a little shortfall. I think the temperature sort of got us a little bit.
Was it pretty hot? I wasn't around.
Yeah, it was warm enough where I think we lost a few people in the crowd. You know, you can lose them from chance of rain, and then you can lose them from the heat. It was plenty warm, put it that way. But
No rain. It was good. No rain.
Yeah. So overall, like I say, numbers were down a little bit, but we don't have the true numbers yet from the fire department and our numbers. It's the first initial, we thought we were down a little more, but it sounds like it's a little bit better. But we got some really good sponsors that had taken care of it. I think this Premier Co-op did one of the classes. Miles Excavating, I think, took 2 classes. Midwest Heavy Duty, which is down in McFarland, took another class, and then Cardinal Glass out of Mazomania actually did the 5th class, for sponsors. And, $1,500 is what we get. I think that actually, it helps us a lot as far as just a little bit towards each class. Anybody that's ever put one of these on understands it costs a lot of money. So,
oh sure. And any revenue you can get, no matter how little or how much, it all helps. I mean,
yeah. I mean, there's a whole list of other people yet that were involved that gave us, $1,000, $750, whatever. But the majors that sponsored the classes were the ones that, and we had them on. I think almost everybody was on the T-shirt for the most part.
Yeah.
Try to give them the most we can out of it. I think we had a good night. I don't think we had any real majors. I know last year the Fent threw the motor on the ground. That was, a bad thing. But I think a couple guys got drug off. I don't know. I didn't hear anything as far as majors. So
Right.
more than once we get to the end of the track and it's just pull me out of here. I'm not going to try and fire it again. So I'm hoping that's what everybody more or less was in that scenario.
Sure. You had 5 classes up there, didn't you, Vern, Melissa?
Yes, we did. Yeah, we ran hot farm, super farm, 4-1s, and we ran the diesel trucks, and then we ran the 540s last. Steph was sort of running behind. She's been running really hard with the kids and that for softball and all that, and that girl has been putting miles on all over. So then we turned around and we decided to go up and run with WTPA Saturday night up in Menominee too yet, and there they were going to run right back over to Green Bay again. I'm like, wow, they put miles on right now. So
that's pretty dedicated there, and it's nice. It's nice. It's nice the association will, help accommodate motherhood, basically.
She does, like you say, they've been chasing with the kids a lot, and they're still, campaigning the tractor. And I know she has some issues down in Mazo, and I think they didn't have all the demons out of it on Saturday night either. So it didn't sound quite right, and she got turned hard to the left, which I tried to give her a little notion, but they run 2 tracks up there, and my pass was nice and straight and true. Just sort of one of those things that crazy how a track can fall apart. And that one up there in Menominee, the first 3 had really good runs, and the rest of us are all about 10 feet behind them. And it is what it is.
Yeah, that's luck of the draw, and that's tractor pulling. And as a puller, it gives you a good built-in excuse. The track went away. There's nothing I can do.
That's what I'm going to go with.
Had nothing to do with you or the tractor. It was the track,
I think we did down in Mazo. I think it stuck together pretty good. Pat went out there and did a lot of the grading and working on it, and I was all with them for the first while, and then I just put the crew when they all got there I said, listen to Pat, let him put it together, and what Pat wants, you guys help him. And I told Pat, I said, just give him a break to go over and have a pork chop and something to drink quick, and then we'll get him back to work again. So
I think he had Wesley with him up there too, from what I see on Facebook. So he had good help.
Yeah, Wesley, he jumped on. We got my cousin's got a Ford 8000 that we had on the Packer right away, and Wesley was sitting up on the seat. I said, "You think you know how to drive it?" I said, "It's not a John Deere, but he goes, I think I can do it." So he was he is tickled to help us for a while, and he rode with me in the tractor when we were first digging the track apart, and good kid, really good kid. That's time. So.
That's pretty cool. What time did you guys wrap up the show up there at Mesa Mania?
We're done at 9:30. And we started at 6:30, 3 hours in my eyes. That is actually the show. And, to have 5 classes, the hot farm's a little short of, we used to have 20 some tractors in hot farm. And I know that, I fell out. Adam's been busy with the kids also doing, ball and all that. Then a few others fell out, but hell, if some of those Fords haven't been coming, it would be a really short class. So I know they've been real blessed on having those other guys along. So
that's kind of interesting because the hot farm used to be 14, 16 all the time. Who won hot farm up there?
Lee
Ruff did,
and he was the first tractor that had to keep the tractor. He was second tractor, so he didn't get an option. I think it was a sled reset. I forget who was the first tractor down as a sled reset. And then Hustle and Harvester come in. He turned it down. I don't know where he landed, but Lee was the first official had to keep, and he won it. So
good for him. Yeah.
And Jason Vinny too. Jason Vinny was the first super farm, and he won.
Yeah. And then 4-1s, I think that was like one of the last tractors that won that class. So, it
Nick
wasn't
was-
like always the first one getting it. I don't remember who won the 4-1.
Nick won that one. He was
There you
later
go.
in the
Yep.
class, but
He was.
I think the track up there. I think the track up there was really, really good. Heck, he was getting everyone out there in our class around the 330 area, and the 540 class put on a heck of a show. I mean, they had to come out of the hole hard, and they lifted the front end, and another 20 feet, they would have had her in the sand, I think. But it was a heck of a show. I think the track stuck.
I
Track
know
did a good
Pat was a
job.
little worried about that whole ordeal. He's like, 540s at the end. That might not be a good thing. And, I asked Steph and those guys and everybody, Paulson, and they all come over and were talking to me at the end, and they said that the track held in. So that's what I like to hear is, we've had some bad things. We overwatered one year and, but I think the track was real good, and everybody, when the last class says they liked it, that's a good thing. So
He had the sled set really good too. I think letting everyone, I
Run.
think the starting line stayed together good this year, and as everyone was getting out of the hole good, and he had the sled set good, and he was getting good ground speed.
Yeah, whose sled did you have?
Terminator, Josh Jacobs.
Okay,
So,
gotcha. Yep. Okay.
yeah, hopefully, like you say, that's one of those things when you put a show together is to keep that track together is one of those things that we really, really want to see. It's just, at the end of the night if it's tore up by the third class, everybody's, moaning about it. It sucks. And
Yeah.
I've been in that spot. A few years ago, we overwatered it, and it turned out bad. But
Yeah. And I'll tell you another thing, Vern, Melissa there, and you too, Mike. You run 5 classes in 3 hours. That's getting her done. That's
yeah.
3 hour shows. That's about all a person's butt can stand.
Yep.
And attention span and everything, unless you're a real hardcore fan. But
Right.
3 hours is really good. I know at Freeport we were starting at 6. So, just a tad bit earlier, but we were sending the first tractor down the track at 6, and we were done 9 o'clock the first night, and then the second night I think we were 9 o'clock. So those are that's a Tuesday and Wednesday night, so we're getting people out of there that got to work the next day.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that's
Part of that too. Part of that too, though, is you got to have good people on the track equipment that
Right.
know what they're doing, hustling and doing a good job. That's a big part of it too. That instead of waiting to get going, they know when to go and everything else.
Yep.
That's a huge part of it.
And we've been lucky to have the same track guys for the most part doing the same parts, so they understand what they got to do.
Yeah, they got their groove. Yeah, that helps tremendously. That's the funny thing, with the Badger State group of pullers. I never worry about the pullers. You guys are always ready to go. We're never waiting on the pullers. It's generally, like you say, track maintenance, and sometimes they got to take an extra lap with the drag and the roller if the guys are tearing the track up pretty good, like the Pro Stocks and the 4-1s and the 540s, the higher horsepower classes. And sometimes we have to make another lap on it just to try to get it back.
We did.
Because if you don't make that second pass, it'll continue to deteriorate.
Worse. Yeah, we've never had two skid loaders on the finish, but we ran 2 this year. And I was like, last year we've always had 4 or 5 loaders there, and I'm like, we're good with 3. Awesome pass, like we're gonna run 3 on the track. I'm like, I don't have a 1 for change and weight, So the kid that works for me all the time, he was down on the finish line or on the start line. So as soon as he knew he'd finish and he knew it was in a class, he knew he had to go grab the forks and change weights. And, he did a real great job on that. He's a young guy, but he's around the farm and we tried to put him in the skid loader as much as we can. So he's a good operator and he worked out very good. So the only delay we really had out of the whole night was, I think Josh lost an alternator and, at the end of the hot farm class and, less than 10 minutes, and Dan Durst was up there giving the awards away, and he picked up
Dick Ruff,
and sat there, and they were talking about old times and good times and whatever. It's like, everybody's like, well, what's the delay? Well, nobody realized that they were laying underneath the hood of that eliminator, changing an alternator down there. You know, well, they're going to do that for 15 minutes in between the class. That's going to be a long night. You know, I was like, that's a good thing. So that's thanks to Dan. He did a great job on talking to the pullers and
He handed out the awards to the winners.
Yeah. And, you know, just it's one of those things. I think he loves to do it, and he didn't want to take it away from me. I'm like, you take it on because I'm not good in front of the crowd. So
yeah. Well, and as the promoter of the poll, delegate and stuff is part of your job also.
Right.
Yeah. I think everything else went good. It's just real time consuming, and if I didn't love it, I wouldn't do it. So sort of like pulling, we put a lot of hours in just to go to a pull and make sure it works, and you know, to keep the tractor running. And this year here with the changeover, we got something going on. It's either we got broken rings or whatever. It's breathing hard, and it is what it is. I told Jeff, I said we started late, you know, with the break of the 466 on the first hook. It is what it is. So, you know, I can't compete against the cooler tractors because I'm non-coolered, and you know, it rears its head. So, but
you're just trying to get through the year, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, we're gonna go play, and you know, like you say, we're gonna try this weekend. I think we're gonna go to Utica, go down and make a show down there. I don't know the Oshkosh on Friday night. I was like going up there, but I don't know that we're gonna take the time to make the trip. It's a long trip for knowing that we're not really competitive in the class yet. So, but
I get that, but look at the bright side. You didn't get rained out up there.
Yeah.
Right.
The threat last week was really, really bad, and I'm just, you know, like Dan Durst said to me too. He goes, we were sitting there having a pork chop just before the show started, and he goes, I couldn't eat before this. He goes, I was always nervous. I said, she is the reason why, because she did a lot of the work. So
we got somebody typing something in here. I'll see if I can read it. Let's see.
Stranley,
what's he say? And a 5-minute alternator change on the sled. Quick interviews with Dick Ruff. Yeah. Why don't you get back on, John? So anyway, the fact that you didn't get rained on, that was our theme last week. We took our mini rods down to Champaign, Illinois. We were supposed to hook IPA in the afternoon and ITPA that night. The whole thing got rained out for us.
Oh, really?
We got rained out twice at the same place. That's a new low water mark.
We heard just north of Mazo that it rained, and I mean that's not 5 miles away. Not at all 5 miles. I'm like, that was too close.
It was close. But, you know, 2 years ago, we did the same thing. We were up there. I think Warren Moveborough and a few others were actually driving down the belt line. They're like, it's pouring down rain, and you are still going to have a pull. It hasn't rained here. And we ran all the way. We had Super Farm. I think we were down to their last class. I think there's like 3 or 4 of the Super Farms that didn't go because lightning was getting to be a big problem. So everybody, if you're in a hurry, you got loaded up, you got out of there before it rained. But everybody talked about it rained like hell on the way home, and do what you got to do. So, but yeah, Mother Nature can screw you one way. Like I say, the rain we didn't get, the warmth we could have done 10 degrees cooler. I think we would have had a lot more people there. Mm-hmm. It was hot, but you know,
and when it's hot like that, and people are sitting in their air conditioned house watching Wheel of Fortune, you know, maybe not. Well, then you know, with the weather threatening like that, if you're traveling over an hour, that'll give you pause also,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether you make the trip. So
yeah, I think couple years ago, like say with Warren and them guys, I know several guys called me, and it rained in Sauk, it rained in Mount Horeb, and you know, even that night when the pull happened, some guys had left already, and they said they got out the Highway 14 up by Wick. I mean, literally like a half a mile, and it was pouring down rain, and it still wasn't raining on the track. I'm like, I don't know who's around us or what's going on, but and we had a poor attendance that night because you know everybody thought it's just going to rain, and it didn't. So yeah, like you say.
So they always say you start planning for next year's pull after this year's is over. Have you guys started getting the wheels into motion as far as next year is going to go?
One of the vendors, Donut Envy, he does mini donuts. He already said he's on board and I said, well, it's the last Friday in July. He says, that's July 31st. So now we got to make sure there's no conflicts with Utica and Oshkosh. And I'm sure those are all August, but.
Yeah. Just a matter of figuring out what our schedule is actually going to be doing here. And yeah, being the 31st, like I told her, I said, Utica and all of them have got to be still the following weekend because, Friday, Saturday or whatever. But, we just want to make sure we don't have conflict of interest on the schedule. So, but
yeah,
that's the first part of it. And I think it's going to be a goal. I don't think we're going to have any problems with everybody. It still is a moneymaker. It just last year we had a really, really good run. We had a really great run last year. So
it'll be nice to have a cup.
And you got to know you're going to have your ups and downs. You got to look at the overall average is what you really got to look at.
Yeah.
And we still made money this year. I'm pretty sure. It's just last year was a really good year, and you'll have that. Like I say, it's the year before last year was the year that Premier was still doing it, and they had a poor year, and it wasn't the reason why he got out of it. But he said he told me originally he's only going to do it 10 years, and he carried me into it. So, but
it was a good pull. Somebody watching it from home. I can't read who that is.
Ryan Paulson.
Oh, okay. Watching it from home. No,
I wonder I wonder how many viewers there were from video live stream viewers.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. We live stream them for the people who can't make it, but we're probably live streaming for people who it's too hot. I think I'll stay home and watch it.
Yep.
I'll have to ask Ryan if he's got a statistic on that.
Yeah. There's your cat.
Yep.
Yeah. So, well, you got anything else, Vern, Melissa, you want to add before we turn it over to Mike and we start chit-chatting about the Joe Davis County Fair a little bit?
I think overall it was a good year. I hope everything. I think it worked good for us. I don't really have any complaints. A little cooler next year, but I could take the same kind of weather, no rain. That's what we all pray for. So, but yeah, I don't know what else to say other than thank you to everybody that helped us, everybody that was sponsors for it. You can't thank them enough.
All the pullers that came.
We had a few extra guys that came in that were that normally don't hook with us. I'm glad that they showed up, and it is what it is. I know a few guys that were still fighting to get there. We sold a lot of parts off of my 466, and there's one more guy that had the tires, and I was really looking forward to seeing him there, and he didn't make it. So, but that's life, I guess. So.
Yeah, right. Well, I'll always take it to being a little warm over rain anytime because you can have your show if it's a little warm. If it's rain, not so much.
Not so much.
And the bugs weren't bad. I mean, but once the show was done, about 11 o'clock, the bugs came in. It was kind of miserable then. So I'm glad it was not buggy during the show.
Yeah.
Well, all that diesel smoke takes care of all the bugs.
Right?
I'm convinced of that.
We were trying to drink our ways away of, don't let the bugs bother us, So there was one can of beer left in the cooler out of 120. So we did pretty good.
That's pretty good. That's quite well. Yeah. All right, Vern, Melissa, I thank you for coming on. You're welcome to stick around and chip in on the show since John isn't here. So, yeah, you're welcome to stay on if you'd like. But we're going to go to Mike Gerlach now from down over in Joe Davis County Fair country. As we're getting ready for Warren, that's going to be Saturday night. Coming up for the Joe Davis County Fair. How many years have we been pulling at the Joe Davis County Fair, Mike?
I think they've been pulling there ever since I was a little kid. So it's been at least 50 years, and it's been a long time there. And
yeah, my dad, when I was a little kid growing up on the farm, we used to go pull at Warren also. We used to go to pull at Warren and Milledgeville, and those were like big excursions because I'd have been 8, 9 years old back then.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And it's been a long time, yeah.
Yeah, we've been they've been pulling there for a long, long time. So
we're looking forward to having the pull there. It's a small town pull, and like Vern and Melissa are saying, it's hard to put stuff on and try to make it work and everything else. But we got some pretty good sponsors at home there and this and that. We was up there today, and we built a new scale pad. We never really had a good place to put the scale, so we was up there today and did that. And then took the road grader up there and kind of made sure the track was nice and level, and we got the Brinkmeyer's disc up there. We're gonna open it up a little bit tomorrow, and a little water tomorrow, and a little water Saturday, and kind of get her prepped ahead of time so we're not fighting it all day Saturday. But I think everything's gonna turn out pretty good. One little different thing this year, we got the light limiteds coming down. We haven't had them for quite a few years, so we're pretty excited about that. They're going to pull in Utica at the first class, and they're supposed to come down and pull with us
Alan Paulson
Saturday night.
Going back to Vernon Melissa's poll, Alan Paulson says, "Thank you, Vernon Melissa, for having their class. Track was really good, and the pork chop sandwiches were great." Boy, that's complimenting you on both ends, the food and the track. I mean, that's all the puller really after. Yeah. And Levi Kenshey's got something to say here too.
You watched?
Oh, yeah. He says you're telling the state
Guernsey show.
Oh, okay. I watched from the state Guernsey show. Awesome event. Another guy who watched. Another person who watched the live stream. So the word's out. That's for sure. Anyway, getting back to what you got going on over at Warren there, Mike. You guys gonna start pounding water into the track tomorrow?
Yeah, there's moisture there now. But we're gonna put a little in tomorrow and then a little bit Saturday morning. But like I said, we got the light limiteds coming this year, and we got some local guys that looks pretty close here. Aaron Kleckner lives just in Winslow. He's 20 minutes away. We're excited to have him. Dave Runkle lives in Kent. And the Hawthorns from Monroe. Hopefully they get the Deutz out again. Gonna kind of put a bug in the ear to come down. Nice to see that one. And Gene Weird, I'm hoping he gets his tractor back together. He's not too far from us either. He's had some issues with his tractor, but looking forward to having that class this year. It's been a long time coming, and so
yeah.
So
and the Zenz boys from Potosi.
Yes,
relatively close for them also.
Yep. So they got good numbers in that class. We're glad to have them, and hopefully it works out.
Yeah. That would be great. Yeah. Are we having them instead of a class that we usually have, or in addition?
Yeah, we've had the 640s once in a while, and just wanted to make a change. Because I knew that we had the biggest thing. We knew we had some local pullers that was close, and it's been and they haven't had a chance to pull close to home, and I just wanted them to give them the opportunity. So I'm looking.
Yeah, but that's great. And that's great because you mentioned Aaron Kleckler. When I drive over to Warren to announce, I go through Winslow on the way. I go right past Bobbers. I even stopped one time.
There you go. Don't stay too long.
Yeah.
No, everything's going good. We're gonna usually have Jeff Becker help us with the track, and him and his guys won't be there, but he's letting us use all his equipment. So we got some people lined up to run all that. So we're lucky to have that part going on. So it's all going to work out pretty good.
Sure. Is Pat Hack going to come down and help build your track?
No, I think he'll probably be in Utica, won't he?
Oh, well,
I'm guessing.
Yeah. But, you're probably right there. Right.
So I think we'll get along just fine. We'll have the equipment. We'll just put some different people in the seats, and we'll be fine and go from there. So
we've all seen enough tracks built. We know how not to do it anyway.
Yeah. You was talking about that earlier, building tracks or running a pull. I think everyone needs to experience it once. It's
at least once.
Yes, and it's not one person can do it. It takes a lot of people and a lot of personal time to do it on your own, and a lot of voluntary time. And building a track is a tricky thing. The weather, hot and dry and sunny, and it can really dictate how that track's going to be. And it's hard. You think you got it set right, but you're not quite sure. And how you pack the starting line, it might get a little hard on you, but it's something everyone should experience once. I think so.
And you didn't open the track at all till Friday afternoon, right?
Yeah, it's Friday afternoon at 1:00 before we opened, and we had good moisture in it. But the problem was there was moisture on the sides. But we sort of drove down through the water truck going zigzag to there's dry here, dry there, and I'm like, I hate doing that, but you couldn't water straight through because it was wet here, wet there, but not here. And so we, Pat says, you drive, I'll just, dictate on how much water's coming off. And we did actually put chemical on ours. So that's something we've never done before too. But Pat's let's try it.
We've done that last couple of years. I think it helps a little bit keeping the track back together. The combination of that, and we even put a little crop oil in there, and it just kind of makes the dirt stick back together just a little bit better. So
yeah. What additive are you guys sticking in the water?
pine saw.
Yeah, that's right.
We learned
remember we
that
discussed it.
2 years ago out in Monticello. We thought, what does that smell? Because you can really smell it. And then got talking to them, and they've been doing that for quite a few years down in Monticello, and that's a really good track down there. So we used it last year, and I think it helps there, and so we're gonna do it again.
I know Pat was you. I don't know what Pat actually used on ours. If he was listening here, he might be able to tell us for sure. But I know it's not a pine saw. I know it was more of a. I think it's a tackifier kind of a deal for spraying kind of a deal. So he uses about $50 to put it on. I'm like, just do it.
Yeah, I know. Clint Tucker uses there's a product made it's called, I don't know what it is called, Track Attack or something, but I think it's a VP product that's made for conditioning dirt, and that's what Tucker uses on his tracks, and that's why you always got to put lower gears in before you go to his poles. Yeah.
No, we're getting all ready. I think we'll be fine, and I think the weather's really gonna. Finally, the weather for anybody doing anything on Wednesday is finally going to turn around. I think it's going to be favorable for no matter what you're doing.
Right.
It's supposed to be better, so I think we all deserve that.
Yeah. It's supposed to break. Yeah, it's supposed to break Wednesday and start being more civilized.
Right.
Yeah. I push mow my lawn, and I'm getting old, and I actually have to come in and take a break once in a while now because it's so darn. I've been so darn hot.
Anybody that works outside, it's
I'm about ready to get a goat and take him out there and just move a steak once in a while.
So, what'd you think of the Freeport pole there, Stacy? It went the different direction on the track, and the staging area was a little bit different. I thought it went real well.
Yeah, I was gonna do a little wrap up on Freeport. Getting back to Warren first, though.
Okay.
Are we having turkey dressing sandwiches?
Yes, we are, because you did ask me that about 10 days ago. You that was your most concerned thing, and yes, we are covered. So.
All right. I want to make sure. Everybody else is aware that they're going to have the best sandwiches and all.
Yeah, we're going to do our same food we do, and we look forward to that, and kind of gives a chance. Especially after the poll, everyone kind of comes back over a little bit, kind of chit chat a little bit, and do a little more eating and have a few drinks and whatnot. That's fun too, to kind of wind down the night there.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that bench pulling is always good because you can't win or lose at that, but you can sure put up a good story. What time are we starting over there, Mike?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Got to let them guys get done milking cows.
That's right.
Well, good deal. Whose sled are we having?
JJ's there.
Okay, Josh Jacob, Terminator or the Public Enemy, whichever one he brings.
Yep, one of them too. Yeah.
Yeah, you talk about a busy guy. He had 100 events booked this summer.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's
crazy.
That's another thing, that having a sled, making sure you have no breakage, or if you have breakage, having the spare parts on the track. That's a thankless job too. I mean, trying to keep everybody happy, the distances and the speed, and this and that. Them guys, I don't think they get enough credit that they deserve. They sometimes they get some negative attitude towards people giving them because something's not right or whatever. But man, they do a good job, I think, for the most part. That if something breaks on it, they usually can fix it right away or this and that. But them guys do a good job and under the pressure quite a bit.
Yeah, you're right there, Mike. And we had Brad Cruckton on here one time. I don't even know if it was on the show or not, but we were talking sleds and stuff. And he pointed out something to me that I guess I took for granted and I never even given much thought. But the sled guy is always the first guy at the pole and the last one.
Yep.
Yeah. Some guys wheel in, and for the first class, they make their run, they load up, and they're gone. They're home. They're home watching Johnny Carson before the poll's even over.
Oh, you look at Josh on Friday night there for us. Alternator went down. He knew it. End of the class. It took 5-10 minutes, and he had it back together. I think those guys, that's a good operator, and
you got to be a full-time mechanic running them, and kind of a person that can just fix and do whatever you need to do, keep something running. So that's hats off to them guys that keep them things going.
And have the parts there on hand to do it. We've had some sleds that we couldn't fix, and you're on for an hour or put an hour in the show. It sucks.
We got a weather report here from I can't read the name, Cameron Newman or something like that.
Yeah. Katrina.
They said it'll be 75 degrees, and everybody will be complaining that it's cold because we're used to it being 90.
Guarantee I won't be complaining. I think we'll all be happy.
I always carry a hoodie around in my truck when I go to the polls because, and I've gotten smart too in my old age. Actually, I throw long pants in there and everything because just because it was 90 or 85 when I left my house doesn't mean that's what it's going to be at 9 o'clock when we're polling yet.
Yep.
I've been some places where it cooled off pretty quick, and I'm like, I don't have anything. So I'm learning too. But everybody's looking forward to getting over to Joe Dave's big weekend to polling. Yeah, that's a doubleheader with Utica going on Saturday afternoon, and the light limiteds are pulling at Utica, and then they're going to truck on down.
We talked about that this winter they're gonna. John said that they'll run first, and then they'll run down to our place and run again. So that's another thing. You run 2 polls, and you need all of the Mark with the scales got to be 2 places at one time, kind of, and rolls in a little later, and everyone helps them set up down there, Warren and this and that. Tech guys, flag people. It's a good thing we got enough help to do all that we can actually have 2 polls in the same day in 2 different places.
Yeah, that's correct because we got a lot of staff because we just have so many polls. But when we have 2 polls in one day, it's all hands on deck because only a few guys. Mark probably be the only one, I guess, that would actually be at both polls.
Well, then they'll be up to Oshkosh Friday night. Yeah, then they'll go to Utica Saturday.
Yeah,
and then Warren Saturday night. So it's them boys will be tired at the Sunday morning when it comes around.
Yeah, well, I'm going to Mount Sterling Thursday night, Mount Sterling, Illinois. That's 4 hours from home for me. Going there Thursday night to pull mini rods. Then I'm going to Oshkosh and announce Friday night. Then I'll be over at Warren to see you on Saturday night. then we're going back to Utica to pull mini rods Sunday morning.
Well, you got your work cut out for you too, then, don't you? You'll be Iron Man and running around.
No, that's just the way it's been the last couple of weeks.
But you wouldn't do it if you didn't like it. So that's
right. Nobody's holding a gun to my head and making me do it. And the thing is, I have to work to do it. We broke the reverser in the mini rod. I tore that apart and seen what I need. Called Todd Boltman up, TRB over there in Michigan. He goes, yep, got the parts on the shelf. And he ships. Being just on the other side of Lake Michigan, he ships UPS, and I generally get the stuff the next day. So
there you go.
Yeah, so I even though I'm going to be busy, I still got work to do.
So what is it about you mini rod guys? You always break the reverser in them.
The reverser is kind of, I guess it's kind of a weak link, and
it's unimportant. I mean, you can get pushed back or whatever. It's not like you're pushing 10,000 pounds, but it seems like a lot of you guys break the reverser.
Yeah, but the beauty of this type of reverser, if you break it, the parts just fall down in the bottom, and it doesn't affect the rest of the transmission. You could break it, back it up to the sled, and still make your pull. So, and some guys just don't even fix it. They just take it out and just get pushed back to the sled all the time. I think that's what John does because it costs $228 for the parts this time. But we got a couple different drivers on our tractors, and one of them gets a little amped up sometimes, And we got 2 tractors with broken reversers, and the same guy broke them both. So I'll let you guess who that is, Mike. Anyway, but let's see what else we got going on. Anything else about Warren that you want to touch base on, Mike?
No, I think we're sitting pretty good. The carnival showed up there the other day, and that's another thing. The people that volunteer to, the fair boards that try to put all this stuff.
Where'd Mike go?
He froze on us. He froze.
That happened to us last week.
Well, hopefully he unfreezes pretty quick. I was going to ask him what all classes he's having there. Well, we'll see if he comes back.
See, he comes around. We know the feeling from last week. It's like, got right to the point where I wanted to say stuff and gone. So,
and that was it. Yeah.
Yep. We were done. It was like, Shanley said, cut her off. We'll just call her a day.
There you're back. You were froze up, Mike.
Nope. I'm here now.
Okay.
I can see everybody.
So what all classes are we running at the Joe Davis County Fair?
There'll be the light limiteds, like I said, for the first time, and glad to have them, the local guys, and 2-wheel drives, Timmermans and Deppies, and a couple other ones up north, and then our 4-1s and the pro stocks.
Oh yeah, pro stocks. Oh yeah.
Yep.
So what's that? 4 classes? Is that what
Yep, 4 classes. Yep.
Yeah, it was a 7 o'clock start. We'll get done at a decent hour, so that'll be good.
Yeah, the 4 classes is plenty for us down there.
Sure. Yeah. I went and announced. I think it was Lancaster a couple of years ago. And they had 6.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think we had 64 hooks or something like that.
Right.
Did they have a
Used to be
double track?
long night and,
Yeah, that wasn't a 3-hour show. Let me tell you.
yeah.
No.
It wasn't double?
I'm sorry, Melissa.
I asked if it was a double track in Lancaster.
No, it was 1 track, 1 sled, and besides that, we pulled a class of farm stocks before that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe we had farm stocks along. I was thinking it was maybe double track, that farm stock on one side and us on the other. But yeah,
Nope.
I think it was only 1 track. So
Yeah, it was only 1 track. I remember it quite well.
that's one of the meanest tracks as far as I'm concerned. I've been on several, but Lancaster is one of those where I am not afraid to shift down. I'm not proud to stay in my tall gear. So it's that can be a mean one.
Yeah, only 5 classes there this year.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
That's
good.
also, it's hard when you get a lot of classes, a lot of hook. It's hard to keep a track together for that long too.
Yeah.
Correct.
Sometimes the track just gets tired and wore out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess I'll transition into touching back on Freeport, talking about the track. Freeport had a completely different crew this year. I mean, Mark Kohlberg took over the pole. Jeff Becker and his guys, they were burned out. They were done with it. And the fair board asked Mark Kohlberg if he would, take over the pole. And if Mark wouldn't have done it, we might not have had a pole at the Stevenson County Fair. And you guys know as well as I do, if you lose your pole, it's really hard to get it back.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Mark said, I'll do it. But one of his stipulations was that they have free grandstand. So that was something that was new at Freeport this year for the first time in 20 years or whatever. And it worked well. I think it's kind of hard to tell because they were spread out a lot more now because we pulled the opposite direction. So they have 2 sets of bleachers that used to be at the starting line end that were not utilized at all. We had a lot of people sitting in them now. So it spread the crowd out a little bit more, but I'm fairly confident we had more people there this year than we had in the last 20 years since they started charging to get in the grandstand. So hopefully the word gets out on that, and that tradition will continue, and we can start growing our crowd back to the levels we experienced 25 years ago. That place used to be packed.
Yes, it was. Yep.
Yeah. And, people are funny. You can charge them $10 at the gate and give them a free grandstand. They think, hey, that's great. You can charge them $5 at the gate and charge them $5 to get in the grandstand. And they're like, gee, you're making me reach in my pocket twice. You're chiseling, nickel and diming me,
Yep.
It's just the nature of the human beast, I think.
Right. It is. Yep. I thought so too. I thought the crowds, it was hot down there too.
Yeah. Wednesday.
I thought we pulled Wednesday night, and I thought the crowd was pretty darn good for the weather.
Yeah. It got pretty warm on us Wednesday. Tuesday was decent, but yeah, Wednesday afternoon they're running the farm stocks. They had a lot of farm stocks. Holy smokes! I couldn't believe how many farm stocks they had, but it was getting pretty toasty. But Mark Kelsey, he pulls that light super stock tractor. He's from Davis. He's right over there, and him and Laverne Weber, they did the track. Laverne runs Grade Solutions over there, so he's really on top of how to lay the dirt out, and everything. And Mark Kelsey was in charge of ripping the track up and leveling it and all that good stuff. And the guys did a great job on the track. The only hiccup we had is we didn't tear the track up on Tuesday between the afternoon and evening show. They didn't rip it up. And that proved to be costly for the mini rods because we were the first class up Tuesday night and the track was hard. We couldn't get a hold of it. And it kind of sucked for us, because all them guys in the mini rod class, they're my friends. I pull with them all the time, and they're from Missouri They all traveled a long ways to be there, and we just couldn't get. I felt bad that we didn't give them a better track than what we did, and I didn't realize they weren't ripping the track up in between the afternoon and evening because I was over getting my tractor ready to go. So I took the blame for a lot of that because I should have been.
Uh-oh.
No, that's Stacy.
We're next.
Now who's leading the show?
Like you say, we pulled right behind them mini rods down there. That was the very first hook of the Super Farm, of course, not being coolered,
right?
And not knowing the tractor yet. I got new chassis and everything, and I should have actually shifted up. Like he said, they weren't grabbing it, and that didn't grab good, but we sort of want to stay together for Friday night. I thought if I come back around, next thing you know, I wreck it and I don't get to pull it home. And
we watched it on TV. I think, like you said, you guys were first, and I think the track finally got broke in a little later in the class there, and it finally got a little bit better. That's kind of a hard thing to deal with, but it does happen, especially when they pull in the hot weather and the sun really dictates that a lot. But that's sometimes you're on the right end of that, sometimes you're on the wrong end.
I didn't know that they didn't dig it. What he was Stacy just saying about it sort of makes sense on. I was like, well, if I would have geared it, like you say, it was not a normal Freeport track. I've only been on it twice, but both times it was like all horsepower, and just without it being dug for us. That for Super Farm, it wasn't the same track. You can ask a lot of guys that said it just wasn't the same Freeport track. So, but it is what it is. I guess, like you say, it's with the 2 shows or whatever. I sort of liked it how Mark had 3 classes in there. It was done pretty quick. Like it says.
Get everyone home out of the hot weather like that, and the night we pulled is they had that the lighter modified class. I think they tag teamed with the Outlaws and the ITPAs, and that was a really good show. They were last class of the night on ours night, and the track was really set up for them guys, and that was a really good show to watch. Them 2 engine mods. I think there's a couple Allisons in there, and the guys from Illinois won that with the twin Allisons there, but that was a great class to watch down there.
The last few times I've seen the Allisons running, they couldn't get them to run. We're up in Hillsboro, I think, is where they were, and they struggle with them things. And the neat part was when I was a little kid, I remember going to Tolman to watch some of that. Sort of one of those hard parts you want to say. So,
well, they got them running pretty good, but that was good that they would have brought that. I think they had 14 of them. So that was a really good class there. So. Looks like we're on our own here. I don't know. That's our moderator, didn't we?
How do you say? Here we are. No, we lost both of our guys. So.
Yep.
But.
John, chime in. What are we supposed to say?
Well, it's sort of like last week. We got cut off early. I don't know if you were watching or not, but our
10 minutes early, we were done.
Our computer quit on us, so whatever you want to say, we were done, and we could watch everything what was going on. And Stacey says, "I guess we're gonna just call it a night, kind of a deal." And so maybe that's what we got to do.
Yep. So I guess, like you said, Oshkosh Friday night. I'm not sure the class is up there, and then Utica with all them, all their big doings they got going up there, and down to Warren Saturday night. So it's a big week of pulling for everybody, and I think everyone's going to be happy to go pulling in mid-70s, 80 degrees. I think everyone's going to be in a good mood, so that's a plus.
Oshkosh starts at 7 o'clock. They have 540 Light Pro Super Farm, Light Limited Super Stocks, 640 Pro Farm, 466 Hot Farm, and 2-wheel drive trucks.
Okay. Quite a few classes in Utica. I'm not sure all I got there, but
yeah. Hey, I'm back. All right.
There he is.
I got booted off. I got booted off, and I had to re-enter. But then I got to wait for Ryan to bring me in. So I don't know if Ryan was around or not. So he let me back in. But hey, you guys did a good job.
We kept it rolling.
I'm watching you guys, and I'm like, hey, they're doing a pretty good job. They can take and run with this.
we're good tonight, but we're not going to do it every Wednesday night. It's a lot of credit for doing it. Or Monday night. We give a lot of credit for you guys doing it. So we'll watch it.
I know we were talking about Freeport just a little bit there, and I'm talking about the track and everything, and that the fact that they didn't rip the track up between the afternoon and evening on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday, I told Mark, I says, are they going to rip the track? This is when all the farmer stuff was pulling, and he said, well, I don't know, and I said, they got to rip the track. You have to.
Yep.
And, so they got out. As soon as we were done in the afternoon, they had the big old 30-inch disc hooked up, and they ripped her to smithereens, and it was a really good track Wednesday night. I mean, really good. So we learned a lesson there. You can't run 2 sessions on the same track. That's not good, especially when you're bringing in that caliber of equipment.
Right.
You can do that if you're running farm stocks and whatnot, but not
make it fair for the next group.
It'd be the other way around. If you ran the big classes first on, then farm class can run on anything. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So we learned a lesson there, and like I said, it was a completely whole new group. Mark had. I think I was probably the only carryover from the previous regime, to be honest with you, because I didn't recognize anybody. And there was a lot of young guys, a lot of young kids. I call them kids, they're in their early 20s, I guess. But it was nice to see that enthusiasm there as far as help goes. Running tow tractors and working on the track and everything, because face it, we're not getting any younger, so it's nice to see new blood stepping up with enthusiasm. Them guys, they were having a good time doing it, so that was really nice. And
there he goes again.
There he goes.
You just don't want to be on tonight.
Am I still here? Am I still here?
Here he is.
Okay. Somebody keeps trying to call me. They don't realize what I'm doing here, obviously. So, but anyway, they but you were talking about the pulling itself. That modified class they had Wednesday night was probably one of the best modified classes I've seen in years.
Yeah.
It was co-sanctioned with the Outlaws and ITPA, but it was mostly a lot of outlaw tractor stuff that I haven't seen, because I don't go out to outlaw pulls because they're just generally farther away, and we're pretty busy around these parts, and but it was a really good class, and the variety that they had. We had a twin Allison tractor win it, and we had a twin Hemi tractor finish second, and a twin turbine tractor finish third, and they were all within 5 feet of each other. I mean, it was a barn burner of a class, and we had 16 of them there. So that was really
good class.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was.
We stuck around and watched that, and I'm glad we did. That was a heck of a class. I'd like to see, them two organizations got together. I'd like to see that more often. That was fun to watch, and them 2-engine modifieds, they were getting some ground speed, and they were laying it down, and he let them run. They were getting some good distances, so it was a heck of a show.
Yeah, that twin engine modified class like that. I was talking to Wayne Sullivan before the poll fair amount. They're some of the nicest people you'll ever come across, too, the Sullivans. But he ran a 4-engine tractor for a number of years, and he likes this twin engine setup so much better. He said now this guy's 80 years old, mind you, also, and he says the ride is so much more fun, so much more exciting, because you go so much faster, because them 4-engine tractors, the sled guy has got you tightened down so much that you don't really get near as much ground speed, because if he lets you get too much ground speed with a 4-engine tractor, he's not going to get you stopped on the other end.
Well, I think them 4 engines, they got so much horsepower. It's easy to burn the tires off at the starting line or whatever. I think they can hook them up better, these 2-engine mods. Yeah. And get going, and that the speed is what people like seeing in distance, and that makes a huge difference. So that'd be nice to see that combination a little more often.
Oh yeah, and them guys were picking the front ends up and carrying them. And they got them frames so flimsy. The motor's just flopping around as they're heading down the track. It was pretty exciting. I was literally shot after that class. I get a little too exuberant.
You were pretty excited about that. Was one of the bunnages, was that a new one he built?
Yeah, that's actually one that came from out in Ohio. It's one of the Criswell and Benedict's old nonsense tractors. Okay. And
he had a heck of a run too, but he went out of bounds. But he had a heck of a pass right there at the end.
Yeah, he was 3:08 when he went out of bounds. I think that still would have been good for fourth if he wouldn't have went out of bounds.
Yeah,
so, yeah, but yeah, they were all going for it. There was no question about that. That was a good class. All the classes were really good. The hot farm in the afternoon on Tuesday, I think it was. Tracy Paulson picked up her second win in a row.
Yep.
She won at Monroe at the Greene County Fair on Friday night, and then come back on Tuesday and won again. And she won just about the same way, like 3 foot, hooking late in the class.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool. I think Nick Gallus won your 4-1 class, did he not, Mike?
Yes, Mazo he did. Yes, and then
he won at Freeport too.
Did he win?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, he won.
That tractor he's driving, they got it figured out, but that thing is hooking up. I mean, that right out of the chute, right out of the gate, that just picks the front end nice and just walks it down through there. Nick's a good driver too, though. If you watch him, he's really patient at the line with the clutch and everything, and I think that's
and I think they got
up right away.
And I think they got Parks pullers on that too, don't they?
Yep.
That was something else that really came to attention down there. The Parks puller tires. Bob Parks was there, had a nice display. But Titan Tire outside of town there, that's where they built. That's where they built the Parks puller tires. Right there in Freeport. They built it right there in Freeport. And Titan Tire, they're seeing value in tractor pulling now. They stepped up and sponsored a fair for a fair amount of money. And then they also bought like 225 tickets to the fair and gave them to their employees so they could come out to the fair and watch the pull. And
the Parks tires in our class, I think everybody runs them on the 4-1s. I think
and
he good tire for our class the last couple of years.
Yeah, and he, and Titan Tire, they had a nice display out there behind the grandstand, and they had Ray Heron's tractor sitting out there all day on Wednesday, I guess.
Sure.
On display. So I mean, it's nice that some of our local vendors like that are seeing value in pulling to where they're really starting to step it up. And Bob Parks, he came out with the new 30.5 version of the Parks puller, and a few of the modifieds had them on. Sullivan's had them on, and you seen how they ran.
Yeah, that worked good for him. It seemed like he had such a good run, they had to reweight the sled for him.
Yeah, and they weren't real happy with that because they thought that could have been the winning run. And I sympathized with them. I was like, yeah, I know, I've been there. I've had the winning run taken away before too.
Right.
You just got to come back and prove it again. And they almost did. Yeah. But I know Russell Phipps with the Hush Money tractor, another one of them twin MBR motor power tractors. He put a set of Parks pullers on at the pull. They literally came down and put them on the tractor at the pull there. Yep. And he went out and ran 5th first time down the track with them. So
that's good.
Yeah. So there's something to be said for them 30.5s, but
sure.
Anyway, but all in all, Freeport went over really good. We got done at really decent times, and the crowds were better. Learned a few things. I think the logistics of it all, pulling the other way and the staging and everything, I think all that worked pretty good.
Nice.
It was nice getting a winning tractor down in front of the stage for a quick interview so the fans could actually see, besides talking to somebody on stage, they could actually see the tractor that won the class. Right. I think that adds a lot to it also.
Right.
That's what we do down in Mesa. We keep them up there. You come down past the stand, we stop that tractor. If he's in the lead, then everybody sits there and looks at it the whole time, So it's like, the hardest part is a lot of people, and for me, I'm amazed how many people know who I am. But, when you're going down the track, they don't really know the guy in the seat with a helmet on.
No,
they're
sure the
tractor. It's amazing how many people, it's just that everybody knows who we are as drivers to our tractors. But, it's. Yeah.
Well, we're getting up against it. Melissa, I heard you gave us a rundown for the classes at Oshkosh. Could you do that again for me, please?
540 Light Pro, Super Farm, Light Limited Super Stock, 640 Pro Farm, 466 Hot Farm, 2-wheel drive trucks.
Okay, and they generally, and I'm sure they're doing it again this year, they run 2 tracks up at Oshkosh.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that, you talk about a quick show. We were done in less than 2 hours last year, and they're very happy with it. Get them out on the midway. Have them go get a corn dog. So that'll be a quick show with 2 tracks up there. That's nice. And then, does anybody have the lineup for Utica on Saturday?
Yeah, it's here.
In a second here.
Things I should know that I don't.
The Badger State app works pretty good.
Oh,
540 Light Pro, Super Farm, Light Limited Super Stock, 466 Hot Farm, Pro Stock Diesel trucks.
Okay, so that'll be a full afternoon up at Utica then.
Utica, yep.
Yeah, and JJ builds the track at Utica for the most part, so you'll want to shift down a gear on that one too.
Yep. Always been a good track. Not always been my best one, but it's back when we were doing Pro Farm, South Central. We actually won a couple times down there. So, but those are the years we were terrorizing everybody. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap it up. I don't want to keep you guys any longer. I thank you guys for coming on and helping out with the show. I'm sorry I bailed out for a few minutes there, but technical difficulties. And trust me, I'm technically challenged anyway. But looking forward to a big weekend of Poland. And next week, it doesn't really let up too much with Milledgeville and Hillsboro coming up. We're pretty much going to stay hot on it. So for the next couple of weeks. And then you know what? After the next couple of weeks, it slows down a lot.
Yep.
Yep.
So enjoy the next couple of weeks, because after that you're gonna be like, man, I wish there was a pole somewhere I could go to. Anyway, I'll see you guys all this weekend. Mike, I'll see you Saturday over at Warren there, and I'll be ready for some of them turkey dressing sandwiches.
We'll have you set up. Maybe give you a care package to go home.
Oh, if there's any leftovers, I'll take them.
There you go.
All
right, Stacy.
Well,
see you guys.
We've got
Bye.
Thank you.
I can't even think. Trip Downing, Hillsboro Equipment, Casper Ag. There's one more. I can't remember who they are.
Front Street.
What?
Front Street
Yeah.
Toys. Front Street Toys. Yeah.
What's his name up north too? Hold on. I'm trying to think of Wettenkamp, right? Isn't he part of it?
Wettenkamp Trucking. Yes.
Yeah. I was trying to think of that.
Yeah, I guess they sponsored the show. They bought mics or cameras or something. I don't know what they did. But anyway, that's John's area to do all that. I'm just filling myself. So this was really an ad lib show tonight.
Yeah.
I did a good job.
I think we did it all. I think we did all right. So
Yep. Okay.
all right, we'll see you all this weekend and travel safe to the polls.
All right. Thank you.
Take care.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Yeah. He was kind of like